Hi guys! So today's video is just a bit of a 2020 year wrap up. I know so many people are happy to see the end of this year, but yeah, I thought I would go through and just reminisce. I'd been reminiscing over the year anyway to highlight to myself that there were so many positives along the way, and also just yeah, so I can look back on this in years to come and remember it, and a chance for me to thank you guys for some particularly special moments. So let's have a look at 2020. So January was a month that was focused on fire relief, basically. Most of the nation was aflame, it felt, and particularly New South Wales and Victoria were doing very poorly with the bushfires. So it's been estimated that over 1 billion wildlife were affected by the fires at the beginning of 2020 and end of 2019, which is just unfathomable. And myself, like so many of you guys, were trying to figure out what we could do to help and to not feel so powerless. So yeah, if you guys remember, I put forward to you that I would be donating all of the sales from my merchandise throughout the month of January to WIRES, which is Wilderness Information Rescue and Education Services. Now, through you guys and your generosity, so not just with the purchasing of merchandise, but some people just outright handed over money, donated money to this cause. We raised over $818, which I think is an amazing effort for a little tiny indie artist with just this niche little gorgeous tribe of people. So thank you so much again. I am still so humbled that we could do so much and have that kind of impact. I also spent January doing a couple of fire relief shows, like just donating my services as a performer for some concerts that were on to raise money. I don't recall what the end figures were for the Busselton fire relief that I was part of, but I know that the Manjimup fire relief run, so they did a fun run and then I was entertaining people at the end of that. And I know for a fact that was $3,501 for the Australian Red Cross and $1,073 for WIRES from that one event in Manjimup. So awesome. Thank you so much. And I mean, January was still very trying and our spirits were still very low, but it felt so good to be able to be doing something. So, well done guys, we did good. So moving on to February. The beginning of February I was on a cute little weekend tour with my mate from up in our Kimberley, Tanya Ransom, and we were doing some gigs throughout the Great Southern. And just 2 hours before I was due to start that show, the show at the start of that tour, I found out that sadly my dad's horse, Toby, who had been with us for 24 years, had sadly had to be euthanized. He was 29 years old and there was nothing that the vet could do. His body just sadly had given up. I was obviously in quite a state and I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank you guys. The audience that was there was so supportive and warm and beautiful, and it was like the energy from you guys is what got me through that particular show. So whether you were aware of it or not, when you were there on that night in Denmark, Western Australia, thank you so much. You helped me through a really difficult time. So also through February I got to do a weekend tour, not just with Tanya Ransom but with the Oceanique girls, Jess and Maddie, and you guys know from my previous videos how much I love all three of these. So that was a really cool weekend and I felt so spoiled. I absolutely loved it. I also got to see one of my favourite bands ever, the band Tool, came to Australia, and it was the first time that I had seen them since 2001, and it was the first time ever that my husband had witnessed them live. So that was another highlight for me musically in February 2020. And of course, February marked the occasion. Towards the end of February, I launched the second single from my upcoming album. I launched Eyes Forward.
Eyes forward and trust your feet. They will take you wherever you're needed. Hear the call, feel the beat. As long as you're alive, firing like this.
And it was so beautifully received by you guys. I loved this song. I hoped that you would, but it was just so amazing to see how much you embraced it when I released it. And it was my first crack at banjo and things like that. There's some other videos which just goes more into the background of that, including the official music video. So I will put a link down in the description below if you want to check out more about that. But Eyes Forward, definite highlight for this year. So then we move on to March of 2020. What an interesting month. It was meant to be the promotional tour for Eyes Forward. I had done the launch party here in Western Australia, which was awesome, and I'd gotten 3 dates through my Victorian tour, because it was meant to be a Victorian tour, and my very first Tasmanian tour, which was all cancelled when COVID became a pandemic, and I got back into Western Australia just before they shut the borders. So I'm very, very lucky in that regard. I obviously was pretty heartbroken that some of these shows are years of work in the making to get them to happen, and just in the blink of an eye it's all gone. But there were definitely positives to be had. I was home with my family, we were all healthy. Western Australia obviously wasn't impacted anywhere near as badly, so plenty of things for me to still be super grateful for in there. It was just a shame, and I know that a lot of you guys were disappointed as well that I didn't get to those shows, but I know you understand that it was completely unavoidable and out of our hands. So that was March, and that began the longest unemployed stint I have had since I was 14 years old. 9 weeks without paid work, which I do know of people who have had to go a lot longer without paid work, and I was very fortunate that my husband was still employed, but it was strange to say the least. But again, looking at the positives, before this hit, I had committed to purchasing another horse, who some of you have met in my previous videos. His name is Aussie. He's an ex-harness racing horse, a standard bred. And the really cool thing about this, lockdown meant that I had all this time to settle him in, welcome him to the home, and get to know him. Whereas previously, it was going to be, I'd be home for a stint and then I'd be touring, and that's just the cycle that my animals and my family are used to. But I felt really blessed that at this particular time I got to be here and put the energy into that. And also, oh my God, for the first time, we've been in this house for 7 years, right? And because of my cyclic tour and crazy lifestyle, we've moved in, but there were so many things that I hadn't done, like pictures I hadn't bothered about putting on the photos and stuff, hadn't bothered putting on the walls, because it was just all those little homely touches I just hadn't had time to really focus on and bother with. So I got to do that. I kind of got to nest a little bit, which was really, really sweet, and I like it, Again, got to look at these positives. And I also started pumping up the YouTube content. It started off, basically as another means to stay connected to you guys whilst things are a little bit different than they used to be. But I'm really enjoying being able to put out this content, and hopefully you're enjoying it as well. So moving on to August. So this continued to be a pretty sporadic time. Like there were some opportunities cropping up here and there, and I reached out to you guys as a community, and I was lucky enough to be hired for a few house concerts. So thank you so much again. I mean, I love house concerts at any time, but it was really a relief as well to be out there and feeling like I was back working. To be able to do those live concerts and interact with you guys, even if it was, you know, we're still doing social distancing and all those kind of things. So yeah, house concerts to the rescue throughout August. Thank you very much. And there were also some other cool opportunities that cropped up that I hadn't been presented with before. Like I got to play at RAC Arena. Like, okay, let me clarify, it wasn't the actual arena stage, but they had set up a stage in the front bar, and it was really cool. So yeah, I was really stoked to get these kind of little opportunities that hadn't happened before, and you know, that wouldn't have happened if we weren't in this different climate. So I'm gonna say that's a positive. And from there, I'm going to jump forward to this October, December period, because, you know, September was much the same as the previous months had been, a very different climate. But October, I of course released my latest single, Darkness in the Light.
You broke who I am, now I see it. Brought the darkness into the light. Oh.
Yeah, so Darkness in the Light, it obviously from October through to December I was doing the promotional tour for it, and a lot of radio interviews, including touching base with some of the radio stations over in Queensland, New South Wales and Victoria that I can't get to in person at the moment. So it's really cool to chat with those people and stay in touch. And in light of this video being a, you know, let's mark the successes, let's celebrate, let's look at the positives, I'm going to own that I think Darkness in the Light did really well. It ended up number 3 on the AMRAP charts, which is the Australian Music Radio Airplay Project. So for the AMRAP regional chart, I should specify, I ended up at Darkness in the Light ended up at number 3, which is really cool. I also got airplay on Triple J Roots and All, thank you Catchy, and ABC Drive and many other community radio stations. Thank you guys so much. I mean, that's how it got number 3 on the AMRAP charts, was because of the support from these community radio stations. Thank you so much. And it was also number 12 on the Triple J Unearthed Roots charts. So well done, little song. You got out there and you did your thing and you touched people, and I have a kick-ass time playing it live, so hopefully you guys have enjoyed this one as well.
Broke who I am, now see it. Brought the darkness into the light. Oh, yeah. Broke who I am, now I see it. Brought the darkness into the light. Oh.
So there, Darkness in the Light was the 3rd release from the upcoming album. Now the upcoming album was meant to be released in 2020. I think a lot of you guys know that. I opted not to release it because I was hoping that the current climate of things might change. However, I will be releasing it in 2021 regardless of tour schedule. Sadly, I can't see myself doing a national tour in 2021. Things might change, but at the moment it's still a bit. I am myself immune compromised, and members of my family are as well, so I need to be super careful there. But don't you worry, I will be finding a way to connect with all of you and offer something really, really special when the time comes to release the album. So that's something to look forward to. But yeah, 2020, what a strange year. A strange year, no doubt, but I think you guys have gathered that I have loved being home, and I have never spent so much time at home for I don't know how long. I'm not an artist that tours as hard as any of those there's super professionals out there that I idolise, like John Butler and that, but my own schedule was definitely taking a toll on myself, and I missed being home, and I've relished in the opportunity to be here, so that's been awesome, even if it's had its challenges along the way. You know, this video is about looking at the positives. This video is also about thanking you guys. So you've all been supporting me in your own way. Some people came forward and donated money to help me keep my career projects rolling. It's just phenomenal. It's amazing. It knocked me off my feet. And you've been purchasing merchandise. You've been watching these YouTube videos. You've been supporting me and following me on social media. You've been playing me on all of the streaming platforms. I mean, there is so many ways in which you support my career, and including attendance to the shows that are going ahead here in Western Australia. So thank you doesn't seem like enough, but that's all I can say is thank you so much for being here with me on this journey. I'm really sorry for those that have had a rotten year, and I hope that things improve for you soon. I hope your losses haven't been too great, and if times are tough or times are great and you're celebrating, I hope that my music can play a part in either sides of those spectrums, and that it's something that you enjoy or brings you comfort in a time of need. And yeah, I think that's all I want to ramble on about. 2020 also gave me time to work on my guitar setup, my live sound, and I'm going to do an updated video soon of my pedalboard setup, because we have built a monster with the help of my friend James Newhouse, who's my producer for the last album and the upcoming one as well. Absolute amazing guy, and he has helped me as well build the sound that I've been looking for. I mean, I'm not totally satisfied, don't get me wrong. I'll always be searching for a better sound because it's kind of addictive. I know anyone else who plays guitar can vouch for me there that we just can't stop for that quest. But it is much improved, it's really cool, and I'll be doing that video soon to show you what we've done, what we've built, and the progress so far. So, I think that's enough rambling. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being there. I love you guys, and I hope to see you out there soon. And all the best for 2021, hey? Let's hope it's a good one. Love you guys. See you next time. Bye.